And I'm at the Sea Shepherd HQ in Amsterdam with Geert, and we're going to look at what Sea Shepherd is. So, hey Geert, how are you doing?
Good morning, I'm fine, thanks.
Cool. So what is Sea Shepherd?
Sea Shepherd is a marine conservation society, so we're striving for the upholding of international conservation law. Like globally, a lot of laws and regulations are in place, but there's still illegal poaching in whale reserves, in sanctuaries. So the problem actually globally is not regulation, but it's the enforcement, and that's where Sea Shepherd takes their role.
Okay, and what is Sea Shepherd working on worldwide?
At the moment, we got some partnerships with African authorities in Liberia, Gabon, and Tanzania to counter illegal fishing, like IUU fishing, illegal, unregulated, unreported fishing. There's a lot of European vessels, big fish trawlers, with subsidy from the European Union, taking all they can get in African waters. African countries don't have the law enforcement in place, so Sea Shepherd offers the boat and the crew, and the specific country assists or provides, like the Coast Guard, the people who represent the authorities and are allowed to make arrests. So this partnership works really well and really is effective in stopping poaching and also avoid new poachers or new big fishing vessels to come to the coastal waters to catch fish.
Okay, and I've heard that you've done a lot of work with stopping the whaling before as well. Have you yourself been out on the boats, and is that something you took part in?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
We did like anti-whaling campaigns in the Antarctic. I've been on, I think, 4 campaigns. Like in the early, I think 2002 was the first one, and then a couple of campaigns after that. We've been really effective with that, even to the extent that the Australian authorities of Australia as a country has taken Japan to the International Court of Justice in The Hague and won the case. So it proved that Japanese whaling is not for research, as they claim, like big worth research on the side. It's just sort of a loophole trying to get into commercial whaling as soon as they can. So the International Court of Justice ruled on that and said they should stop. Okay, what have they done afterwards? They came up with a new program and also said, actually, we no longer accept the UN, United Nations, and the International Court of Justice as being qualified to judge on these sort of matters. So actually, it just means, like they said, like the big finger, we do it anyway.
Yeah.
And then the problem is that worldwide, I think the general opinion is against whaling, but there's not a country who actually really acts. So that's really frustrating. So why does everyone say we want it to stop, but no one does anything? And that's when Sea Shepherd came in.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you've made great progress there, and with the drilling as well, is that correct? Drilling in the Arctic?
No, that's not.
No?
No.
Okay, sorry. And how did tattooing become part of the integrated with Sea Shepherd? Because at the HQ here, we're in a tattoo studio. So how did this happen?
That's a nice story. Myself, I've did a lot of things. At a certain point, I studied Chinese. I graduated. My thesis was about ancient classical medical Chinese text. I also started to paint, like on canvases, but also on wooden pallets and other artwork. So at that point when I graduated, I thought, I'm going to try to live as an artist. Then I didn't sell anything. Then I sort of got involved. I did a few tattoos myself, and the guy who did my tattoos, he said, "Hey Geert, what about, how do you feel about becoming an artist, tattoo artist yourself?" I said, "Oh fuck, I don't know. Well, let's try it." Well, and it worked out. So about 25 years ago, I started tattooing myself. In that period, I became a volunteer for Sea Shepherd. And so it was a sort of like a natural combination, like answering the phone, Sea Shepherd related questions or issues when the Japanese were complaining to the Dutch authorities about what Sea Shepherd has done, because Sea Shepherd is waving or sailing the Dutch flag. And so art, tattoos, there is the link. And then only recently we thought, let's try a complete new approach to reach a wider audience, like fashion, lifestyle, but also tattoos. It's a statement. Also, in my experience as a tattoo artist, I've never met tattooists or tattoo artists who are not one way or another engaged with animals or care about animals. Tattoo artists, they also have the tendency to travel all over the globe. So they're not narrow-minded, so they know environmental issues that go on as well. Tattoo artists love to go to nice places. So when you go somewhere and you see on the beach, you see plastic, or you see a rainforest and you see the effects of the industry, all that sort of things, those people, they can see it. And I think it's a generalization, but the average tattoo artist also has the financial means to give something. So the combination is really good. Artistic freedom, an open view, and the will and the commitment to give something. Either like to talk about what's going on, or like as a guest artist, like I'm sure you come back later in this conversation, as a guest artist in a Sea Shepherd tattoo studio. And that way you can have talented people deal with the issues that Sea Shepherd is dealing with. Because we know what's going on, climate change, global warming, so many things. But if a politician brings it up, no one's believing a politician. And especially someone like, oh, we got this person in the US, it's like, what can you say? Then when it comes to science, graphics and statistics, it's very interesting, but it's a rational thing. It's not something that touches your heart. So I think it's very important if we can reach people by the heart. So there's the motivation. Changes come from within, and you cannot impose change. So if by means of art, be it tattoos, be it music, be it sculpture, be it whatever, you can touch people. And I think that's the approach I would love to elaborate more, and that we start to communicate and bring out now.
Great. And you're artistic director in Sea Shepherd, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and director in the Netherlands?
And director Sea Shepherd in the Netherlands.
So you've opened up a tattoo studio here in the HQ. I understand you've always tattooed with Sea Shepherd. I've seen pictures of you tattooing even on the ships out at sea, which is amazing. So you started this studio, was it correct? It was in April 2018?
Yes.
And since then you've been receiving international guest artists.
Yes.
Such as myself. I tattooed here this weekend, which has been really, really fun. So how is the new studio evolving, and what's happening with your guest chair and everything?
It's going really well, beyond expectations. Like in the beginning, I thought, okay, how are we gonna manage? What are we gonna do? But it already started very well. Like at the time, I was still tattooing on a regular basis. I had some colleagues, some friends. So I gave one of them a call, said, hey, goes, we need a chair, we're about to open a new tattoo studio for Sea Shepherd. You don't happen to have one? And he said, shit, I just gave you the way to someone, blah, blah, blah. He called me back within a minute and said, Geert, I'm going to buy you one. That's my donation to Sea Shepherd. And from that point, it only went upwards. Then we contacted the supplier who brought that chair, which my friend had bought for us. He said, hey, we got, Coast gave us the chair. Don't you want to do any sponsoring? Yeah, sure, absolutely. So, well, I didn't expect that. So we got a lot of stuff for the studio. Then another person donated a real nice working bench of oak with a logo carved in it, and then
So
it raised in donation. And it went really like, wow. Soon after, we got with Tattooland, it's a supplier, he said, hey, shall we bring out a Sea Shepherd vegan tattoo ink line? And so that happened. Recently we started partnering with Cheyenne, who will also give like a percentage of the sales of their needle modules to Sea Shepherd. And then of course the most important thing, the guest artists, like so far, like yourself, really talented artists who are willing to donate something of themselves, their art, and also raise funds and awareness that way for Sea Shepherd. So it's like also Mo Ganji from Berlin, Lindsay from France, some people, there's people coming over from the States, and it's like it's really going well. So we hope that this will spread literally all over the world, and then build up a community with people who care and want to get involved.
That's amazing. And your studio is completely vegan, so it's all animal cruelty free, I understand. Yeah. And you have the line of Sea Shepherd inks as well. So for tattoo artists, where can they purchase things like this so that they can support support Sea Shepherd through their own studios?
The ink can be bought via tattooland.co.uk. I think it is. But always, also, if you got questions, they can contact Sea Shepherd and seashepherd.tattoo, and we will let them know.
Mm-hmm.
So, and also guest artists via the website or via our Facebook page, they can also contact us.
Great. And what other arts are involved in Sea Shepherd? Because you're the artistic director, is it just tattooing, or is there sort of music and other artistic projects that go along with the raising awareness and funding for this?
Yes, music and also like painting, like because of the tattooing, we are in close contact with Sea Shepherd chapter in Italy. There's some really talented artists in Italy as well, but also like painters. So ideas to have a whole gallery of art, which pieces can be auctioned to benefit Sea Shepherd. So we really love to make it like a gallery in Amsterdam, like the center of the artistic Sea Shepherd part, and also try to convince or ask artists to help promote it. Mm-hmm. And I think that could be a really powerful way.
Yeah, it'll create a great network between artists, and yeah, I really agree.
And I think also it's important for me, it's a personal opinion, art should have a message. I don't believe in like the l'art like art per se, like that's it. It should mean something. Mm-hmm. I think art is a language. So what's the point of creating art if you don't have anything to say?
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. And with Sea Shepherd being a movement itself, and there's a lot of movement in art, it's good to put the two hand in hand and sort of politically educate or emotionally move people about these world issues that we're discussing with the sea health and conservation of the animals there. So how can people support Sea Shepherd and support the tattooing? So if someone wants to come and get a tattoo from one of your guest artists, how do they go around that? And how can people perhaps bring their own artistic creativity to the table and become part of this network?
Everyone can reach us via our website or our Facebook page. On the Facebook page, we have like the calendar of at what time which tattoo artists will be available in our Amsterdam studio. What we also are looking into, if you can organize, for instance, Sea Shepherd tattoo days in other countries or other cities, so that artists who care can do a Sea Shepherd day and give all proceeds or part of it to Sea Shepherd. Mm-hmm. We already work with that in Germany and a bit also in Italy. And actually, I think you said that you did the same in Brighton.
Yeah, I did mandala sea creatures. So
that's perfect.
Sea themed, yeah.
So if we can now more of coordinate or combine everything and make a platform where all these events and all these happenings can be promoted and art and pictures and videos can be shared, then you build up a community and get more and more people involved. And I think something hanging on your wall or something being on your skin, it's something quite dominant. So you make a statement, and a statement for a good cause. I think that's what we want. So it seems like now everything has gone beyond expectations. Like, wow, actually this works quite well. Like people offering, okay, I want to join, okay, I come over, I fly in from you name it, and people come.
That's great. And the more people that get involved, the more strength it has, the more momentum it builds. So,
absolutely, because I think that might become more like a, not philosophical, but sort of. I think changes come from the people. And also, personally, I would like to say or promote this whole thing about ecosystems and how things go. I don't believe there is ecosystems, plural. There's only one ecosystem, and everyone's part of it.
Yeah, for sure.
And by focusing on that, you can try to make people realize or aware you're part of it. Mm. It's not something which is up to governments. So you, as an individual, can do something. Like you either mess up or you are aware. It does not mean that immediately you have to change your complete behavior. But as soon as you start realizing what's happening, for instance, the impact of the whole meat industry, I'm not going to say everyone should not eat meat, but do you realize how much water is needed to produce 1 kilogram of beef, for instance?
And the deforestation and things like that, and the gases, yeah.
And once you realize it, well, actually it makes sense. Mm. And then if your favorite band or your tattoo artist talks about that, I think artists, they have a responsibility, also by means of the media, to make clear statements, to say what they think or feel, how they think things should change. So I don't believe that media or artists can do whatever they want without expecting or without having consequences. You have a responsibility.
Yeah, for sure. I think you have to be the change that you want to see. You can't wait around for the government to say, "Hey, let's all do this now," because I mean that's not happening, is it? And we can't wait for it. So it is about taking the action that you want to see, changing and implementing, even just small steps in your life, like looking at your plastic footprint and having awareness about things like this. And this weekend in your HQ there was a kids event as well, which I thought was great because it's educating the new generation about whaling, about plastic pollution and things like that. So that's really important as well, isn't it?
It's very important. And the children, it's a cliche, the children are the future. And also, which is very interesting, you can reach the adults via the children. And it's so like when a kid asks you something, okay, Dad, what are you going to answer?
Yeah.
It's quite a clear question. Daddy, why are people doing this? Why are people slaughtering those animals? What's Dad or what's Mom going to say?
Yeah. Yeah, they have to find a good answer.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. And children are very critical and have very direct and open questions.
Yeah.
So that's the whole psychological aspect of the lifespan, how a kid becomes an adolescent and becomes an adult, or sometimes does not become an adult but just stays. It can go in so many ways.
Yeah.
But like now, what we with Sea Shepherd want to do, I think, is to promote, and promote is a bit of a weird word, but to make people realize, hey, everything that's happening is also affecting or afflicting or being imposing on you or with you. You're part of it. And also, like, for instance, if I look at I think like now most shops in the Netherlands, if you want to have a plastic bag in the supermarket, you have to pay for it. And some don't even supply it. And now there's also already countries in which it's completely forbidden to have plastic bags. That's not something which was an initiative by the government.
Yeah.
So I think there is a change in behavior, in attitude from the people.
Well, every transaction from people is like a vote, isn't it? Yeah. You choose what you want to be supplied with. Yeah. And if there's no demand, then that demand won't be met. Like people not buying things wrapped in plastic, or not buying unnecessary meats and things like that, or not buying whale meat, for example. You know, if no one's asking for that, that's not going to happen. So it is down to people power as well.
It is so, and I think there's also, hopefully one day, politics will change as well. Because how come, like, each time before there's the elections, you get the most beautiful, nice promises, but after the elections, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Or what's going to come true from the promises? Well, I'm not too positive about that one. I think a lot of times it's just like, it's about getting the votes. So if you would ask me, what would be one of your wishes for a better future, I would say, let's stop the 4-year period for politicians to stay in parliament or whatever. Make it at least 10 years. So every idea of a politician has time to develop. I mean, if you look at the current situation in politics, no one is happy anyway. So if it's party A or party B, no one is happy. Compromise is one of the worst things, because then something happens which no one wants. But let's say if we give party A, instead of 4 years, 10 years. With a 4-year period, it's like, okay, new program. First, you're going to change everything from the previous government. Then you want to set up something new. But then the period is already over, and people become conscious of, what's going to happen to my position? I have to secure it for the next term. So actually, there's not much time left in which politicians are really doing something which would benefit the country. It's a bit generalization.
It doesn't seem like that they're too fussed about that either, really. It's usually they're usually looking at economy in a different sense rather than an ecological sense. It's about profit, and quite a lot of the time, corrupt profit. So that's why things like Sea Shepherd are so important, because it is implementing things that the government aren't, isn't it? The protective systems, yeah.
And that's sometimes when people say, okay, but what you guys are doing, is that not supposed to be the task or the job of the government? Yes, but they're not doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
So should we then just not do it? And then another problem is about 3/4 of the surface of the Earth is water, and the biggest part of that is like does not belong to a country. So like it's not the coastal waters, it's not an economic exclusion zone of a specific country. So who is going to decide what is allowed and what is not on the high seas? So there literally is no law on the high seas. Anyone can take everything out of the sea on the high seas, because who's going to check? And that's, for example, a US Coast Guard vessel will not risk a political incident or a diplomatic incident with whichever country if they see a vessel using illegal long lines or drift nets to catch fish. Even though they know it's illegal, it might be that it's not illegal in that particular season, it might be that it's not allowed in that region, they will not act because they don't have the command to do so. They don't have the authority to do so. The government has not said like, go after them. No. So why would they risk trouble? So that's a bit why things are so complicated.
Yeah.
And then another thing, the misconception about a real strong, honest fisherman. Like then you get this image like a guy on a wooden boat, big with a beard, strong hands, fishing, tough life, making a hard life, and gets his food for his family. Well, actually it's not like that anymore. It's like really machines, factories, up to a couple of 100 meters.
Any type of industrial farming is just
everything.
so messed up. Yeah.
And it's like, hey, there's nothing honest about that.
Mm-hmm.
And then also the claim that the fishing companies, they can catch fish. Why? Whose is the fish? The fish swimming on the ocean, do they belong to the percentage of people who happen to be fishermen? Even if they're industrial fishing or whatever it is? It doesn't make sense to me. So what if the other 95% of the population would say, actually, we would like the fish and the sharks and the whales to stay in the water. Why not?
Exactly.
What right does the small percentage of people who want to exploit the ocean take the national resources, which is a very funny word anyway. What does national resource mean? Like it's supposed to be taken, you can take if you need something, but like calling it like a resource, it has a sort of like a psychological depth in it. It's like you can take because it's a resource. But and also like with the rainforests in South America, planting new trees for what we take, it might sound good, but anything you take is taken.
Yeah, the ancient rainforests, you can't get that back. And those are ecosystems that the entire world relies on, like with the deforestation in Borneo, that's literally like the lungs of the earth, and it's not a local issue to that place, it's everyone's issue. The whole ecosystem, like you said, it's not plural, it's all one thing and everyone relies on that.
Absolutely. And I think that's, to come back to the artists, people with a creative vision who can visualize or make it like a piece of music, or they can find a way to bring across that message. It might not be the most, in the beginning, the most logical way. People have to get used to it or be open to it, but then it will change. And I think that's also like in the policy making. It's very often on high level, the policy, the changes are also made by the wife of the CEO saying like, hey husband, I heard this, and he started thinking about it. And that way, this sort of the emotional, the family input does change into the policy of this big company or even a country. And I think that's very interesting. So if you know how that works, and you can not manipulate it, but just use that in a positive way. Because let's be honest, everything that happens, if it's PR or publicity, whatever it is, it's propaganda. There's nothing when you go out the street which does not have the intention to manipulate your mind.
There's subliminal messages everywhere.
Yes.
Even the way a shop is laid out. Yeah. It's like a science of mind manipulation, isn't it? Yeah.
So then people might say, okay, Geert, you're with this conspiracy theory and all that stuff. I'm not saying that. I got my opinion on a lot of things, but realize that everything is there for a reason, or has a thought behind it.
Especially with media, yeah. So it's nice that Sea Shepherd have got genuine messages and that it is something that everyone can get involved in. You don't have to be like a tattoo artist or something. Like, everyone can play a part in this, can't they? So I think it's that's great, and it's what's needed right now, and it's needed like exactly now because of just how much destruction there's been done in the oceans already. Like, something like 60% of sea creatures are already gone. So, it's something we have to act on now to be able to fix this. And if people want to get involved with Sea Shepherd, would you just say the website?
You can go to www.seashepherdglobal.org or www.seashepherd.tattoo.
Yeah.
We also have another website, artistsforseashepherd.org, which we're really promoting and pushing now.
Right.
So,
and if tattoo artists want to come and do guest spots, though, understand that the doors are open.
Yes, absolutely.
And if people want to use vegan Sea Shepherd Tattoo Ink, then you can do that through the .tattoo website, can't you? So, yeah. All right. Thank you very much. I've had such a great weekend here. Thank you for your hospitality, and it's been great discussing these issues with you too.
Thank you, Faye. My pleasure.
Thank you.